So we want to welcome to the Grind Design. I'm Mandy Henriad with the Wise Lending team, and I'm here with my partner in crime.
Oh, Michael Walters. Yep. I am here virtually today because we have a very special guest occupying the other chair. So, uh, Lee
Yeah.
Stern with Keller Williams in Utah. Welcome to the Grind Design Podcast.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate you both.
So we're going to
Okay.
let Lee introduce herself, but we invited her here because I think she's a mentor of many. Her story is inspiring, compelling. It makes you want to be a better person. So, Lee, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Love to. So I've been selling real estate for 54 years. Moved to Utah October of 79. Was married, have two kids. Started selling real estate when interest rates were 12.5% here. And they continue to go up to 17.5%. Average time on market was 365 days. I never took a listing for less than 1 year. And you had to carry 32 listings at all times in order to close 4 a month, which was my minimum goal. Shortly after starting here, I ended up getting divorced. And so then became the single mom of two very active boys who played Little League and were involved in scouts. And I was involved in their school as the PTA president and in lots of other ways. But continued to have to make sure that I was the sole support. I did not receive, I received $47 a month in child support for a total of two kids, so it didn't pay the electric bill. So it was all up to me to be able to do that. And that's not easy. A lot of other moms and dads who have been single parents, I know, Mike, even for you, being a single parent and you've got an ex-wife who's wonderful and as far as being supportive, but she doesn't live in the state. And so it was all on you to be able to do this. And it's a challenge for the kids through that time, and it's a challenge for parents through that time. So my poor kids have been door knocking in my geographic farm since they were in third grade. They get paid with things like lagoon tickets, passes if they do that, and different items. And I had to really encourage my kids to participate in what I did for a living since there were nights and weekends that I had to work. And so I set up a system where whenever I had a closing, my children also got a closing. I never stated the amount ahead of time, but that got them incentivized. So I remember one night leaving to show two houses and said to the boys after dinner, I'll only be about an hour. I'm only showing two houses. And Josh's response to me when he was in fifth grade was, "Don't show them, Mom, sell them." Because they absolutely got the concept of if Mom gets paid, we get paid. So that was kind of a good system to have. So, and then other things that I did, like making sure that once a month I had a date night with each of them individually, which they would look forward to, and they got to plan it. And I would tell them how much money, and they'd figure out what we do to spend that money. And if it was a tight month, it was going down and shooting horse at the church parking lot and going to Leatherby's for ice cream afterwards. If it was a big month, they got to go out to dinner and a movie, and they'd figure out the tips and be in control of all the money. So it was a good way to teach the boys some money lessons also. So I've been doing that ever since. Started at a Century 21, was there for 10 years, went over to Wardley for about 10 years, and then opened up Keller Williams about 23 years ago in Utah, and worked as a team leader for 11 of those years and regional director for 7 of those years. And then as I was getting near 60, I thought, oh gosh, how do I eventually retire? And you can't do a team leader role part-time. So after looking at all my options, decided to get back into real estate. And so I've now been doing real estate sales for the last, I think, 12 years and doing very successfully at that. So built it all
Oh,
on a sphere of influence.
well, I think here's the thing. I know your story, but it's fascinating to rehear it. And if people who are listening, go back and listen to how many times, and this is just in an intro that Lee started and then had to pause, start and pause with regional director role, team leader role. Those are roles that you're not in active production, at least at a high level, right?
I had
And
not
so,
I had not sold a house for probably 20 some years when I got back into production. My entire sphere of influence had been farmed out and referred out to other agents. Yeah, so I started from zero.
yeah,
12
I
years
guess my
ago.
point in saying that is whether you're 30 or whether you're 60, right? Um, the best time to plant a tree is what, 20 years ago, whatever. That the next best time is
We just
now. And
lost your
Lee,
Yeah,
sound,
we
Mike.
lost your sound. So whether you're 30 or you're 60, and then we
Can you hear me
lost
now?
your sound.
Is that better?
Now you're back.
Okay. Well, yeah, my point was, doesn't matter your age, the best time to start is now. And
Mhm.
you've shown that
Yeah.
several times. So people listening, like, I don't care what you're doing, right? Could be something health related, could be something business related, relationship related, like just start.
You're gone again, Mike.
Hold that thought 1 second, Mike. Let's check and make sure all the do not disturb are off.
Yeah.
I got you. I can hear you now.
Okay, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, I don't know. Although now our
Because I'm on
video,
I'm on do not disturb
yeah,
on my phone.
about that because now
Okay.
I don't have video
Well, don't worry about that. Just we've
I
already got a
could,
great intro. There we are. There we are.
Yep.
for us.
Yep. We're there. We're there.
Okay. If it goes out, like as long as we have audio, I think we're good. Lee, this is a first for this. Like we have never
Oh.
been 10 minutes in.
Don't I feel special?
Well, it's all right.
It's because we did our checklist and then we walked away from our checklist and we came back.
Yeah.
Fine. We got
Anyways,
it.
I left off by saying just start now. That is what I took
It is
from.
always the start now. That's exactly
Yeah.
right. It could start at any time. Matter of fact, I can't tell you how many agents over the years I hired, at the age of 50 plus who went on to be highly successful, and how many people I started at age, 20 to be successful. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of people that have that story, right? That they're not ready or they've missed their boat.
They think they've missed their boat. I have to tell you, when I had the invitation to come to Keller Williams, I was 50 years old. So it's been 22 because I'm 72 now. But I remember calling my sister in Illinois, who totally did a career change when she was 50. And I said, I'm a little nervous about that, because I'm 50 years old. And she said, well, look at how old mom and dad are. You're going to live a long time. You got another 20, 30 years to do this. And I went, oh, well, that's true. So I had that moment of, should I, at that age,
Yeah.
make that kind of big change? Because certainly getting salaried was very easy,
Yeah.
but it wasn't real challenging. And it also didn't allow me to go to the highest I could go. And that's interesting because I didn't start buying investment properties until after I got into production. And now I have 6 investment properties plus my own house, and they're all paid off. And I couldn't have done that on a straight salary.
Well, hold on here. Let's go back there because I
I
know
was gonna say,
knew
let's
that.
say that again. Yeah.
Hold on here. I knew it, but I want you to say that again. Lee, you didn't buy your first investment property until what age?
Till I was over 50. I may have
Okay.
been 52-ish. I didn't
Okay.
even begin
And
to
now-
think about doing that.
Yeah. And now you've got
Now you-
6
and you have-
plus your primary.
Right. All
And
of
they're all
them
paid
all
off.
paid off. They got paid off in like 15 years. They
Yeah.
got all paid off. And so now
Okay.
that's straight cash flow. So the truth is, now I could retire, and I don't want to. So I don't.
Be
Don't.
fun in that.
There would be no fun. I play golf 3 times a week as it is. So I don't need to play 4 times.
Yeah, and I would have to find somebody new to have an office next to and hear your conversations. Don't do that.
Exactly.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So So again, another lesson. I mean, Mandy, like how many people are you talking with, right? It's rhetorical, but they want to buy an investment property, but they don't either know how, they don't think, they
Right.
don't know the different mechanisms, whatever. We've got a lady to your right who has 6 completely paid off rental properties in 20 years, cash flowing.
Amazing, right?
Let that sink in.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and you really did that because you went, oh, I need a retirement plan.
That's exactly what it was.
And you're like, I'm 50 and I need to map out a retirement plan.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
People who think it is too late, it's never too late.
It's not too late. No. And especially if you're in real estate,
Yeah.
because you sell $1 million house and you throw all of that as a principal reduction. And then once you paid off one, that rent goes to paying the next one off. And it's a compound effect that, like I said, they were all on 30-year mortgages. They were all paid off in under 15 years. And now
Yeah.
they're income and more than enough income to be retired.
Yeah.
Just now there's no reason to retire.
Which is part of why it's such a joy to watch you,
Yeah.
because everything that you do, every client you work with, you do because you want to.
Right.
You don't, from a day-to-day standpoint, you don't have to
No.
do anything.
No.
And I think that freedom is amazing.
It is. It allows me to be really, really honest with people.
Okay, so that's I love that you said that, because this is one of the things that I always say about you that I admire. And you've kind of always been this way.
Yes,
in
I
my
have.
world, right? I have always loved your direct and honest approach to everything, right? I've always had such respect for the way you will say exactly what you think and what you mean in the moment. And then you don't carry it forward after that. You hash it out and you keep going.
Right. Yeah.
Where did you learn that?
I don't know. I've always said I don't have enough time in my day to add drama. So I'm big on not having drama. I also come from a place where one of the questions I ask every buyer and every seller prospective person that I'm working with, is on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being absolutely, how honest do you want me to be with you? And so up front, I get permission to be honest. I had a gentleman a couple of weeks ago that I went on a listing appointment. The house was listed at 2.5 million. And I went up to the house. We went through the house. We looked at comps and I said to him, so as you can see, your house is worth 925,000. And he said, and I said, I only tell you that because you made me promise to be honest with you. So there's your truth. And he's like, well, if I could get 1.3, and I said, you should take it, but you'll never get that. The truth is 925,000. And I am very sorry that some realtor allowed you to think you could get 2.5 million for this house. But he wasn't mad about it. Nobody's mad about it if you've asked
Yeah.
permission ahead of time to be honest.
I love that. So you basically set the table that's.
I set the table every time with a buyer and a seller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you show up that way for everybody around you.
I do.
Which
Yep.
Yep.
I really respect. I think we joke a lot here in Utah that there's a lot of not direct communication.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you find it, it's refreshing.
And I watch my clients appreciate it. I've watched them defend how much they had to do because I told them they needed to do it to get highest price.
Yeah.
And they've defended why that was such a smart move for them to do it. So I think they appreciate the honesty. And I'm a big believer that if you help enough people get what they want, you'll always get what you want. And I think that somehow comes across. Nobody seems to get offended by my honesty, which is surprising because I am direct. But ultimately, they all benefit by doing it.
Absolutely.
And so I'm not telling them to do things that make no sense financially for them. I'm big on the making sure financially they're in a great shape.
Yeah, I love that. So the other thing that I watch you do a lot in our community, Lee, is that you mentor a lot of people. In fact, I have said the words to multiple people in my world where you've been direct and feelings get hurt. And I have said, don't cry about it because Lee Stern wouldn't say the thing if she didn't
Right.
care.
Mhm.
But tell me, do you just mentor anyone that comes into your circle? Are there specific traits that you see in people that you go, oh, that makes me want to invest in them?
Well, I think I do mentor naturally in the people that I care about. I think, and that's true whether they're children, adults, realtors, non-realtors. If I care about them, I am very much vested in them. But I also think that most often, even the people that are new that I haven't gotten into a big relationship with or a long-term relationship with, my questions that I always ask is, not typically, how are you today? It's typically, how's your real estate market going? How's your real estate
Mhm.
business going? How many listings do you have? I'm always asking the probing questions
Yeah.
and looking for an opportunity to help them move forward.
So do you just do that across the board for anyone that comes into your circle?
It is
And if
kind of
they're
what
smart-
happens.
And if they're
Yeah.
smart, they engage and plug in.
Yeah.
And if they don't,
Yeah.
And they stop coming to me
yeah.
to ask me a question. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be true.
Yeah. Lee, I think Lee is the master of the open-ended question, not the yes or no response. I mean, unless
Right.
she's looking for that in a dialogue, because there is a place and a space for that. But when it comes to having engaging dialogue, like, I mean, it's seldom, if ever, a response that's yes or no.
Interesting.
Um,
I've
well,
wondered how you've gathered so many people along the way.
So, Mandy, I don't know if you know this, and we have a little time. So
Yeah.
this is how direct Lee is, and Lee knows the story I'm going to say, because it was literally my first week in the business. We're 10 years ago. Open house up in Cottonwood Heights, right off of 74th South and Highland Drive, and
Yep.
Lee like gave me the signs, and um, you know, not much else. It was a test. It was. I think there was a lot to it, but I put out the signs the best I knew how to. We did the open house, and then, of course, I want to know how I did first week on the job. So I asked Lee after the open house. I'm like, Lee, how were my signs? And she goes, "Oh, honey, they were god awful." And but the reality was, we got in the car, we went and we drove, and we looked at, okay, where could they be positioned to more effectively draw people in, right? And it's those type of learning moments that carry, for the extent of a career or a business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that goes both ways though, right? You were willing to ask the question
Mm-hmm.
and she was willing to give you the right
It was his
answer.
first
I-
open house.
Yeah.
And so all of it was
Yeah.
new. And so, and certainly he's taken it on because he does fabulous open houses now and gets a lot of
Yeah.
business from his open houses also.
Yeah.
So it was well worth the investment there for sure.
I thought they kicked ass until I was told they didn't.
Until he realized, well, this one's behind a bush and this one's not where the traffic is going by and all those kind of, basic
so
things
fun.
that as a new person, you don't know.
You don't think of.
You don't know what you don't
right?
know.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Whenever I train somebody on an open house, guess what? I don't give them direction. I let them go do it because I'm willing to have a less than perfect sign, especially if I'm trying to mentor somebody so that they know how to do it next time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway.
I love that.
Well, and I think I'm attracted to learning-based people also. I think people that are committed to self-mastery who want to get better. Not everybody wants to get better.
That's such a hard truth.
It is a hard truth. And I always, for years in recruiting agents, and even now I teach every month. And I always say to the students who are realtors, when you have a question of any kind, choose one person and you go ask them. And whatever they tell you, that's what you have to do. Because nothing's worse to me than somebody who goes to this person, didn't like what I said. So now it
Yeah.
goes to you, Mandy. Ooh, they didn't like that. So now they go to Mike. So I'm not big on people who are time wasters. I'm
Yeah.
big on people who will take action. So be careful who you choose to ask because you only get to ask one.
I
So
agree. And I
good.
actually, the people who do that, I actually stop answering the question. Instead, it goes, I become like, I don't know, what do you think you should do? Because that's what they're going to do anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Or who else have you
Yeah,
asked?
what did they tell you to do? Who'd you ask and
Go
what did
do
they
it.
tell you to do?
Question.
Yeah.
Who else have you asked?
Yeah, because they've asked somebody else and it's like, nope, then I'm a time waste. Or the
Yeah.
people who call me, and this happens every year, I'll have some agent call and say, hey, do you have 20 minutes today? And I go, Probably, what do you need? Well, I've got my first listing presentation tonight, and I need to know how to put together a packet. And I'm like, no, that's something that should have been planned out a long time ago. You are unprepared. No, that's not a 20-minute conversation. That's a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours. Mm-mm.
And that's one of those moments where you've put off the task until you absolutely had to, instead of
Yeah,
being
no,
prepared
that's
in the very
it.
beginning.
That's
right?
it. If you're
Yeah.
planning on success, then you get prepared like you're going to have it. And if you're not prepared, that means you really are thinking nothing's going to happen. And so nothing will. So, yeah, being prepared for success is important to me.
That is a profound item.
Yeah,
If you're prepared for success,
it happens.
it happens.
Well,
Yeah.
perfect example, and one I did cold calling one day many years ago. I'm calling with a horrible script, just a horrible script. And I'm getting no, 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 no. And probably call number 30 or 50. Somebody said yes. And I said, thank you, bye, and hung up. And then realized she had said yes. So I had to call back. She's laughing on the other end of the phone, thank goodness, and said, you were expecting a no, weren't you? And I said, I was. I'm so. And I listed the house. I mean, we had a good laugh over it. But I mean, when you're not prepared for success,
Yeah.
then you screw it up. It doesn't happen.
So that reminds me of something else that I heard you say once, and it stuck with me because, we are all, no matter what your industry is, you have to go out and seek out business.
Right.
Right. That is our job if you're an entrepreneur.
Right.
And you were once talking about making calls, and that you would set a goal of, I have to talk to this many people. So if I have to sit here for 4 hours,
Yeah,
doing that,
so-
I'm sitting here for 4 hours.
Yeah. So I had a plan B. When you're a single mom and you know you have to have 4 closings, you can't have 3. And I was scared to death if I ever had 3, that would be my new floor. And I couldn't afford to do that and raise the kids. I mean, keep in mind, average sales price back then was $43,000 a house. So you had to have 4. And so I instituted a plan, and I called it my plan B. And I set it up for the 26th of the month, which was stupid. It should have been the 15th, but that's really what I did. And just said, if on the 26th of the month, I don't have the 4 new listings that I need for the month, then I have to go in at 8 in the morning and I have to stay there until I get another appointment, so that by the end of the month, I was guaranteed that. So my worst call day was talking to, not dialing, talking to 273 people. And I only
Wow.
had to do plan B twice because plan B is very painful. And so if you ever have to set a plan B, do it for the 15th of the month, but know that it's very painful, and that's on purpose, because then you never want to get yourself in the place where you have to do it again.
Yeah.
Well, what's even more painful is that was in a time, I'm sure of it, where it was hand dialing.
Oh, all of it was oh no,
That's
manually hand
yeah.
dialing. Absolutely,
Yeah.
it was hand dialing.
But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
I
that.
don't even know if we had cell phones at that point, to be honest. It was landline hand dialing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is one of my favorite things, because that is like the epitome of grit. And that is
that
being
is,
like,
yeah,
I am not going to fail myself.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to fail my kids. I mean, for me, it's not me so much. It was the kids. I mean, they have to eat. They have to sign up for Little League. They're junior jazz. They got to do all this stuff. And I can't let me get in the way of that. So, yeah. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think there's something about, I guess in our modern times, we'd call that like burning the boats, right? It's the middle of the month,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I am literally burning these boats, and the only way I'm going to be successful is I stay here and be successful.
Yeah.
That's that is equal to saying, okay, I'm going to sit here until I have my X number of appointments.
Yep.
And, I think that's for people that are listening to this. I mean, that is a way, whether it's the X number of calls, the 15th protocol, burning the boats, whatever it is. This is an idea and a thought process of that. There's just no option to not win, not to quit,
Right.
but there's no option not to win. So not to win.
I explained it to my kids ahead of time, what would happen and how that would look. But you think about what are the example you're giving to your kids. You don't tell your kids to go to school and be mediocre. You tell your kids to go to school and succeed. You don't tell them to be mediocre at a job or in college or in life. And so the example they are most likely to follow is not our words, but our deeds, our actions. And so if we're setting the right expectation by role modeling it, I think we have a better chance for our kids.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We had a moment a couple years ago when we opened this branch, right? And we were moving from bank to broker world, which is, I mean, it's the same industry, but
Right.
so very different. And at one point, I mean, there were some tears in the office over that, right? There's some growing pains.
Yeah.
And my staff looked at me and they're like, well, what if this doesn't work? And I remember standing in their door going, that's not an option.
No, that wasn't it.
We will not fail.
No. I had such a fear, Mandy, that 3 would become okay. That really was
Get that.
going from a 4 down to a 3 was my greatest fear, because it wasn't a sustainable for me and the kids. So it had to be 4 or more.
Right.
And so it's always been 4 or more. It's not 4 or more anymore. Now it could
Yeah.
be two.
But do you ever
month.
really just do 2?
Well,
I
I'm
bet you
closing
still do
3 in
4.
the next 7 days, so probably not as often. But really, and
Yeah.
that's another thing to think about. Your goals will be different,
Right.
and everybody's goals are their own personal goals, and they're their personal goals for whatever reason. But as a single mom, that had to happen. There
Yeah.
was no other alternative.
And there is no option.
No other
Failure or not.
option. It is not an option. So yeah, burn the boats. This is what we have to do, and we'll figure it out. And so later in life you can change it. But then, like I said, I had goals to sustain the kids. Then you get to 50 and you go, holy cow, how am I going to retire? That becomes the new goal.
Yeah.
So I think through
Mhm.
life, our goals will change
Yeah.
and your production numbers will change to reach whatever goals you set.
Absolutely.
Yeah, up or down. Yep.
Yeah, I think something that I think we talked about briefly, but you just articulated it even better is whatever those goals are, I think it's important to share those goals and get the people that are closest to you behind you on those
Yes.
goals because whether it's a Saturday morning you have to go into the office because you're making calls or whatever it is, the people that you love and that are around you, they got to be behind you.
They
And
do
your
have to be
kids, your
behind.
your kids were behind you.
Yep. 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 And even if it means incentivizing them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
paying them to knock doors with you, paying them when you have a closing, all of those things. Now that they just teach lessons.
Well, so this brings up another thing because as a mother, right, surrounded by mothers, girlfriends who are mothers, I see such a guilt for being a driven woman,
Mm.
guilt as a mother, right? So, question in light of that, do you feel like in all of your hustle and all of your building, were your children ever worse off because of the ways that you chose to show up to
Yeah.
support them?
So I don't think so. I'm very fortunate. My parents convinced all 5 of us kids that we could succeed at anything we wanted to do. And all 5 of us have gone on and succeeded in 5
Yeah.
different arenas. And I do think both my parents were successful, and I think they role modeled that also. And role modeled responsibility. That's one of the things that I see less of nowadays, and it has me worried, is that I don't see kids having to have as many responsibilities. And I think, wow, that may be something that'll backfire in their lives
Yeah, in future
in
generations.
future generations, or even continuing
Yeah.
in their current generation. I think that can be a bit of a challenge. I think we can do our kids a real disservice by I have lots of conversations with my clients who all become friends about their 32-year-old son who's living at home and not paying rent, and I'm like, how are you not
I heard about
allowing
one
him?
today, 46 years old.
Yeah, how are you
Mom
not?
figure out how to make ends meet? And I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, how are you not helping him adult. And
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
have lots of conversations with clients and stuff. I do with my clients about that. And, you know, the nice thing is I can have those conversations with them and they're okay with that. But yeah, I mean, little things like my ex-husband, not to cast aspersions, but if it required two things on a piece of bread, he couldn't make it a sandwich.
Right.
So one of the things I did is from the time they were in first grade, they had to cook each of them, one meal a week, all 5 food groups, do the whole thing, shopping list, prepare, clean up, the whole bit, all 5 food groups, because I never wanted my boys to leave and get married and find that they can't do that kind
Well,
of
and
thing.
not be self-sufficient. So
Not be
I think I'm
self-sufficient.
very similar. I have no regrets and I'm very driven. I've worked very hard.
Right.
But I watch my children
Mhm.
and I think they are very self-sufficient children.
Well, and Mike's done the same
Yeah.
thing. I've watched him as his 2 kids have grown up. And yeah, I mean, he has done the same thing with teaching responsibility, expecting them to be responsible,
Right.
not expecting them to come up with reasons why, but
Mm-hmm.
accepting consequences, good and bad, of their actions. And I think that's something in the world right now I'm not seeing as much of, and it worries me greatly.
Yeah. Or letting your letting your children suffer the consequence of a choice, right?
That's hard
Like,
to do, but
truly,
you need to let them.
let them
Yep.
Oh,
suffer the
boy, is that,
consequence.
That's,
yeah, I mean, it's beneficial. It just
Yeah.
is. Let them
it
sit in
is,
it.
but it's real hard. You want to go save them. It's real hard to, but do the hard things.
Yeah.
It's worth it
But
for
it's
them.
interesting. I wanted, because I run into so many women who have this story about how they are somehow not being great mothers because they're out working. And I'm like, I don't think that's
No.
the case. I think we are teaching our children.
How to be a great mother,
Yeah.
Mhm.
mother and a
Yeah.
provider and a responsible
Right.
kind of adult. My kids, for example, from the time they were little, I always said, if you give me 48 hours notice, I can do anything.
Yeah.
But if you fail to give me 48 hours notice, I can't do it. And I remember, again, Josh, and he needed brown shoes for a school play. And he came to me and said, I need brown shoes. And he needed them by Friday. And I went, there's not enough time in my schedule. So he, I think it was 4th grade, arranged to get somebody to substitute him as the crossing guard and arranged with the teacher for something else so that he could go at 9 o'clock in the morning to get brown shoes because that was the opening I had.
Yeah.
And so again, teaching them time management. I had an agent one time who missed a coaching call or coaching meeting with me. And she said, my son, 8th grade son, had left his phone at home and so she had to go to school and bring it to him. And I said, really? What lesson did you just teach him? What value is your job if he thinks it's okay for you to miss a meeting to bring him a phone? In 8th grade, there's a telephone in the school and they're not allowed to use the phone anyways. So what did you teach him?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
stole that from you and ended up using it on my
Okay,
my
good.
youngest especially,
Yeah.
right? Because he's a little more fly by the seat of his
Mhm.
pants in
Yeah.
spirit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally stole that. And you're right. They figure it out real fast.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
figure out how to
Yep.
problem solve around it
Mhm.
when they fail,
Yep.
and they learn not to do it again.
And our kids need to know that.
Yeah.
We all have lives,
life
all of
skills.
us, where we fail forward a lot. And the fact to pick it up, learn something, and move forward, that's a skill that our kids
Yeah.
need.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
100%.
interesting. Okay. Well, we could sit and chat with you forever and ever and ever.
Well, you can't,
We
'cause I
also
have
know
another
your
meeting.
things. Yes.
Yeah.
There are some kind of standard things that we like to ask.
Okay.
Because it's where we often get what we're going to go read. So, is there one book that you are currently reading that is impactful? Or is there a book that you would say carte blanche is the one book everyone should read if they're building a business?
I'm not reading one currently that fits that mode. I have lots that I've read that I've liked. From a leadership perspective, and I'm a big believer that we as realtors, we as adults are leaders, whether I'm leading buyers I'm leading sellers. I'm leading my children. I'm leading a classroom. It doesn't matter what form it takes. I'm big on leadership skills. And so anything by John Maxwell, anything in his leadership series, and he's got probably a dozen of them,
Okay.
are really, really good. And not just for those who are in real estate. In life in particular, I think it's important to have leadership skills.
Okay, we'll make sure to get some links.
Okay.
And where can everyone find you? This is going to be my favorite because Lee's not big about being online. So
Oh, but she's out there.
she is out there. I
Well-
don't know if she's watching though.
I hear that there's some stuff on YouTube, not that I put on, but I hear I might be there. Yeah, I'm not on Instagram or any of that. I'm on Facebook, but I never check it, so don't go there. I would just pick up the phone to 801-541-5899 and call or text me. I do text, I do email. You know, I can do DocuSign, but
I
yeah.
can do
Or,
DocuSign.
yeah, or you can go to 1245 East Brickyard and my office is on the 5th floor. Come and see me. I'm there every day.
Love it.
So true. I love that so much, Lee.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
Thanks
Thank you
for,
so
It
much.
was good to have you both. Thank
Yeah.
you.